So, the reason I love comic books and comic book movies is because they always incorporate the metaphysics, the occult, and initially the energy that connects us to every one of these superheroes in essence. If you're able to actually see beyond the illusion and the CGI and the actual artwork within the comic books. For example, we've all seen this particular scene from Doctor Strange, right? The first Doctor Strange movie where he's actually flying across what we would say initially he's within the multiverse, right? Going from one particular form of experience to another, right? Now, this looks pretty familiar, the background. Why? These are your brain neurons within the mind. When they fire up, basically, they pretty much look like the universe. So the universe and the multiverse is literally within your mind. Now, every thought within your mind is a reality, is an experience, or is a sacred timeline. So, for example, every timeline that Loki is embedded around is initially every thought, every experience that you initially tap into on a daily basis while you think. The more you feed that particular reality or timeline based upon the energy you output, being of course your feelings, your feelings, your feelings, emotions, energy emotions, or what I call the elementals emotion, fire, earth, air, and water. The more you concrete that particular reality and it becomes the experience that you're currently living now, which becomes your sacred timeline. So, and here Loki sitting in the middle speaks about your observer. You're the one that observes. And when you're ready to focus that particular image, that thought, that reality for it to manifest in your physical experience, you initially focus the light of your observer basically into that particular experience. So when Loki is time slipping, it's actually you. When you think, you time slip from one reality, from one thought to another, and that becomes the sacred timeline or the timeline or timelines that you bring forth into your experience based upon the focus and energy that you put into the mind, which becomes the manifestation in your physical lifetime. So that's one of the reasons I love the comic books, because they incorporate the metaphysics, the occult, and the occult means the hidden aspect of the abilities and the powers that we all hold on a daily basis that we execute either consciously or subconsciously. And the last thing I'll say is this. Gladiator is one of my favorite characters. Why? Because when Gladiator has no confidence, he doesn't know what he is in essence. He loses the knowing, the belief of himself. His vibration drops like a rock and he loses to anyone. When he's confident and overconfident, he can pretty much be anyone or anyone because he knows who he is. So it speaks to each and every one of us. When we know ourselves, we're able to maneuver the being of who we are into this physical experience and live our dreams and be happy. When we don't know who we are, we initially dwell, we suffer because we get left out of the equation. The first thing that happens is your head goes down, which means your breathing is fluctuated and you start to speak like your energy drops like a rock and you initially suffer. So when your head is up, like Tupac said, keep your head up, your vibration is up, you know who you are, what you are. When you know what you are, so in essence, you're able to maneuver like Gladiator and have the confidence, the spiritual soul power for you to actually be what you do and express that in this physical lifetime. Just like in this particular dope pass scene in the Matrix, Neo goes through the whole Matrix movie not knowing who he is, what he is. When he knows what he is and he wakes up, no, he stops the bullets, breaks the Matrix, and literally takes out Agent Smith. So, when you look at all of these superhero movies, comic books, there's always an origin story that defines them in that particular moment. And initially, how was Captain America defined? How was Iron Man defined? How was Thor defined? What was their moments when they were defined and became the heroes they were initially meant to be? That speaks to you and your current journey that you're actually currently going through. Just like the man himself said, Joseph Campbell, A Hero's Journey, which I recommend to every single person and to every single comic book fan out there. If you read this, you're gonna get the history, the philosophy, and the energy of what the hero is, what the hero's journey is and how the hero's journey is symbolic of you. But that's my initial thoughts on why I'm into comics and why I love the metaphysical occult symbology being behind these comic book superheroes, because they're all symbolic of us, 100%. Oh, and of course we can't forget Charles Xavier. Charles Xavier is symbolic of the mind. He's the observer. He is the observer. The observer is initially this: when you look left and right, you observe. The reason he can tap into his powers, metaphysically speaking, is because when he goes into his mind, he initially is able to observe and not allow the addictive thinking of thought, which is the past, to distort his energy and his powers. Meaning this: when you think of a thought right now, who's thinking the thought? You or thought? It's you, because you're the one that's observing the thought. When you hear a thought, when you see a thought, it's you that's observing the thought. When you put focus into that thought, the thought lives. And the thought starts to feed off you, and that becomes the addictions, the appetites, and the tendencies. But when you're able to observe your thoughts, just like you're observing this video, or observing a dope-ass Marvel movie, or observing basically the beach or the sky, in the observation, there is no thought. There's a difference between thought and intelligence. Thought is of the past. Intelligence is of the now. In the stillness is the silence. In the silence is the intelligence. In the intelligence is the intuition, the spark of who you are. So anytime you judge yourself, it's your thoughts that judge you, because you're not your thoughts. With Charles Xavier, he's able to maintain a powerful mindset or a thought set based upon, he's able to observe, go within, and initially tap into that particular spark of who he is, and direct that through the mechanics of thought to allow him to do what he actually is able to do. So Charles Xavier is significant basically of course, your mind, your energy, the observation, being able to observe and not judge, being able to observe and allow your energy to flow and to direct that particular energy however you see it fit, based upon where you want that particular energy and flow to go. So that's my initial thoughts. Hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, repost, share, like, and if you did not like this video, that's cool too. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought of this video. Click, like, share, follow, repost, all that good stuff. And I'll catch every single one of you in a bit. Thank you.